And welcome in. It's the Garnet Trust Hour presented by Krantz Kooling and Heating here on the game. Appreciate you tuning in. Not one, but two special guests today. I am chatting with Ethan Petry and Cole Messina from Gamecock Baseball. They're joining me remotely here and got a lot of ground to cover. It's been a busy few days in Columbia, and so we got a lot to talk about, guys. Let's dive right in. First of all, Cole, where are you at right now? Are you still down at the beach right now hanging out?
No, so I'm in Columbia.
Okay, so you're in Columbia.
Working
You're
out.
back now.
Doing some
Had a
stuff
little
at the
time
field.
to unwind. Yeah, okay. I got you. And Ethan, you're down in Florida about to celebrate a birthday, right?
Yep.
Okay.
20th birthday.
Okay. Happy early birthday to you.
Thank you.
So guys, I don't want to bury the lead here. We got to hit the biggest news right off the bat, and one of many things to cover. There's a new head coach for the Gamecock baseball program, Paul Maneri. First reaction, Ethan, I'll let you go first. Tell us your thoughts on how this whole thing went down, and what you think of Coach Maneri being the new coach here in Columbia.
I was actually shocked when that happened because it was obviously no one predicted that to happen. So I was really, astonished. But then I was like, oh my gosh, look at this guy's resume. So I really enjoy him on the show, or not on the show, on the team. I was reading the thing on the screen, but I really enjoy him that he's going to be our new head coach, and I just love that he brought in Rooney as well, and it kept Monty Lee on because Monty Lee has been a really important useful source in my my time in Columbia.
Yeah, Cole, I know you even publicly, vouched for Monty, either getting the job here in Columbia or certainly remaining part of the staff. And so, as we know, he's getting a new contract. He's staying on. He's passed up, I think, some opportunities to maybe go out and run his own show again to stay here in Columbia. So, what are your thoughts on Coach Lee getting to stay in and what that means to you?
I mean, it means the world. I mean, he's my guy, and Pet can tell you, like, me and him have a really, 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 really good relationship. So, I mean, I'm very happy either way now with the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, either move on to professional baseball or, come back and play with that guy as my coach one more year.
So you gave me kind of an opening there, and I want to get back to Coach Maneri and the rest of the staff. But let's address the future a little bit for both y'all guys. So Ethan, I'm gonna go back to you here real quick. You made what seems to me, and it seems to the rest of the Gamecock Nation, it seems like you're sticking around in Columbia. Obviously, you've got more college ball to play regardless, but like it is the transfer portal era, right? And so I think when people saw, hey, Coach Mark Kingston will not be back, you are one of the top guys in the country in the SEC, a proven guy. And I think that naturally leads people to wonder, gosh, are we going to be able to keep Ethan Petry around Columbia? But it seems like that's pretty set right now, correct?
Yeah. My personality is loyalty, and I don't want to chase any money or anything, or try to chase a championship when I can just stick around and be patient. And I believe that something comes good here. And obviously now we just picked up Paul Maneri, a Hall of Fame coach and the most active winning coach in college baseball now. So I feel like loyalty gets rewarded, and I feel like that rewarded me right there.
Cole, you mentioned the decision that you're going to have between the draft process or coming back and playing again for Monty Lee and Coach Paul Maneri. Walk us through like what the next steps of that process looks like. Like, what types of factors are you going to weigh? What is the timeline? Like, kind of break it down for us of how you make that difficult decision in due time.
So, yeah, I guess the next month and a half will be just a bunch of phone calls, a bunch of meetings, a bunch of FaceTimes, you could say. I go to the combine next week, talk to teams in person. But, I mean, there's a lot of factors. One factor was, is Monty Lee going to be around? That's a huge factor. Another factor is my brother. Another factor is like what teams value me as, you could say, and whatnot. So I mean, there's a ton of factors, and still a ton of time for everything to happen. But I'm happy either way. That's my biggest thing.
Yeah, at peace either way. And so you mentioned your brother Carson, who's committed to come play for South Carolina next year. And I'm not going to have you speak for him. We can talk to him about this and get his own view. But he's a guy that I understand out of high school, like so many top flight guys. He's probably going to have a decision of his own to make out of high school. Hey, go to South Carolina, go ahead and try to jump straight from high school and begin his pro career as well. But tell us a little bit about, kind of Carson and what he's about as a player and what he's about as a person as well.
Oh man, Carson is probably a little bit different than me, and Ethan can attest for that. Carson's more, outgoing, very high energy all the time. Obviously just a good kid, just very, very high strung, you could say. And then, as on the field, he's a little bit different than me. He's a lot more quieter. He goes about his difference a little different than I do. And, I think he's a really, really good arm for his age. He's very talented, very athletic. So, whatever happens in like the draft, like you said, happens. And, I think as, a selfish brother that he'll have a decision to make. We'll see.
Yeah, it is interesting to think about because, for Gamecock fans, they could have no Messinas next year. They could have one, or they could even have two, which would be cool. But I know you guys have those decisions to make, and I'm sure there'll be difficult decisions. But like you said, good to have good options now, right? So, Ethan, what is next for you? You were telling me, obviously you're in Florida hanging out now. I think you're about to go play in the Cape, right? But what's going on now with you that the season's over, and what are kind of your next steps in the off season here?
So right now I'm just healing my hand in Florida and just, spending some time with my family, and then I'll be, getting this right and getting ready to go play in the Cape on the 25th with Yart. I don't know how to say it. I think it's like Yartmouth Dennis, the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited for this opportunity, and we have a long summer left to go. So,
and my understanding from what y'all told me before we started here on the show is, everybody's scattered. Like Ethan, you're down in Florida. Some other guys are not in Columbia right now. Cole, you are back in Columbia. I know a bunch of the team, several members of the team are back in Columbia, but y'all haven't had a chance because of that to have a full team meeting. But I know y'all have had an opportunity to speak with the staff, right? So let's do this. Let's so I can let you talk about it. Let's take a quick break here, and then when we come back on the other side, we'll break down more of your thoughts on Coach Paul Mainieri and what you've heard from him and how that first team meeting went. We'll do that on the other side with Ethan Petry and Cole Messina. I'm Chris Clark. You're listening to the Garnet Trust Hour presented by Krantz Kooling and Heating. All right, Garnet Trust Hour back here in studio. Krantz Kooling and Heating, Garnet Trust Hour with Cole Messina and Ethan Petry. Guys, thanks again for joining me. It's been fun so far, and I know where we wanted to go next was you have had an opportunity to talk with the coaching staff. Cole, first impressions. I think y'all had like a Zoom meeting, a virtual meeting. How did that go? You don't have to obviously give us too much, don't give us any of the secrets or anything, but how did that first meeting go?
I mean, I think it went, about as good as the meeting as you can on Zoom and people all over the place. But no, it was good. Coach Tanner was in there. He talked about, Coach Mainieri's background, who he is, their relationship. And then Coach Mainieri introduced all the, assistant coaches. His biggest message to me was that we're not going to be average around here. And, we're not going we're not going to try and rebuild this thing over a couple of years. It's going to be come in, expect to win, and take off from the start, which I like to hear because as a new guy taking a program over, it's easy to say, we got a couple years, get our guys in, but he's happy as his players and staff and support staff and thinks we can win now. So,
Ethan, what was your perspective on what you heard in that first meeting?
I loved it. He's a very old school kind of coach, and that's what I really like. I like that discipline. I like that hard nose, head down, work hard, treat the game right. And I think he's great for the job, great for our players. And he said to us that he's so excited to be with us and with all of our talent on the team. So I'm sure he can take off with our talent and potentially be a national champion.
Yeah, I was talking about this earlier today with my colleague Wes Mitchell, and you guys know Wes, and I think in 2024 especially at a program like South Carolina, like I feel like it's not like you guys are far off, right? I know you didn't, the year didn't end in the location where you wanted it to end.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't end like you wanted it to end, but you were just in a regional this year. You made a super last year, and at South Carolina, it just feels like you're never too far away where it's about, maybe bringing back some of your key guys like Ethan, maybe like a Cole Messina, maybe we'll see what happens. And then, adding to it, you got JUCO like you always have. You got high school guys, you got transfer portal, but y'all kind of just speak to that. Whoever wants to jump in, just how the belief that Coach Maneri and you guys have that things can get turned around in shorter order here in Columbia.
I just think, trust is everything. And as we're going to trust him and he's going to trust us. And that's all that really matters when it comes to winning baseball games and making it to where we want to be. And trust is a really good factor when it comes to a locker room all the way out on the field. So start in the locker room, and then now we have, Coach Maneri. We're going to trust him. He's going to trust us. And then all that's going to lead out on the field. And, we just play our game and trust each other.
Cole, any thoughts on that?
No, sir. I mean, I agree with what Ethan said. This new guy is coming, a little bit more disciplined than maybe we've seen in the past. But I think from all I've heard from former players of him is he's going to push you to be your best. And no matter your feelings think, no matter what your mind thinks, he's going to get the best out of you. And, he's going to make you a better person while doing that. So I think really, really, really good for this place.
So, looking back at, when this name came out that apparently Coach Tanner had done a pretty good job of kind of keeping under wraps during the coaching search, not the recruiting process. I knew who Paul Maneri was. Like, I knew he was at LSU and had done outstanding things there. But, at that point you kind of go, because he's been out of the game for a couple years, right? So you go and do kind of a refresher on Wikipedia or wherever you go. And the resume is pretty impressive. I mean, he's been to Omaha with 2 different teams, with Notre Dame and with LSU. He's made, I think, 4 or 5 College World Series just at LSU, runner-up one year, won the title in 2009. But, you talked about trust, Ethan. Like, is that a part of it? Trust to me always has to be earned. But when you got a guy with a resume like Coach Maneri, do you think that kind of bridges that gap and helps, like, all right, we need to listen to this guy kind of right away?
Yeah. I think that goes with it. And also him, showing us, his ways of how he wants to play the game and how he wants to, go about the game. And, we trust that what he has done over the past 15 to 20 years, we trust of what he's teaching us, we can do. So I feel like, actually I was at the Rays game when I found out. So I found out he was getting into the searching, with the baseball search, baseball head coach search. And I found out, and I was like already in the baseball mood. So, I got really excited, and I saw that, he has this huge resume, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's, he's unreal.
Cole, let's go back to Coach Lee and let's kind of keep playing off that trust angle, because I know you said you agreed with Ethan on that. I mean, how much do you think having Monty also back, plays into that trust role for any guys that will be returning to the team? And then why is it so important in your mind for guys like you, for guys like Ethan, to have Monty back? Like, what is it about Monty that has endeared him so much to this roster?
I think, there's one word that, comes to my mind, and it's relationships. I mean, he worries more about our families, our day-to-day life than I think baseball, which as a player means a lot to me. I'm not going to speak for Pet, but I mean, I know how he feels and that it means a lot to him. And, having a guy like that in your corner, no matter who the head guy is good, just because, you could really, really like a head coach, but and also like assistant coach, or it could be opposite, really, really, really hate the head coach, but have the assistant to lean on to and, get food and make it fun for you. So I just think he plays like that middle guy almost, you could say. And, he looks out for players. He's a grinder.
Yeah.
Nothing bad to say on my end.
Ethan, you mentioned Coach Rooney too. Did you have any level of familiarity with Terry Rooney prior to just seeing, hey, he's going to be on Coach Maneri's staff? I know you mentioned him by name, so I just wanted to ask.
I have not, but he was actually the coach at USF, and I heard a lot of good stories about him when he was at USF. And I heard he was an amazing recruiter, amazing pitching coach. So I heard a lot of good things about Coach Rooney.
Good stuff. All right, we're going to take another timeout, quick timeout here on the game. We come back on the other side, maybe one more segment or so with Cole Messina and Ethan Petry from Gamecock Baseball. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Garnet Trust Hour presented by Krantz Kooling and Heating here on the game. All right, back for more with Cole Messina and Ethan Petry from Gamecock Baseball. I'm Chris Clark, hanging out here on the Garnet Trust Hour for the next little while, presented by Krantz Kooling and Heating. And once again, Ethan, Cole, thanks for making time, guys. I do want to do a little bit of this before we move on to the future. I do want to look back at this past season because I feel like we probably needed to do it and address it just a little bit. But, when the season ended and maybe you had a little bit of time to reflect, so maybe not walking off the field immediately after the game, but just, getting back home and being able to reflect on it a little bit, thoughts, big picture thoughts on the season and how it went this year.
It was a little bit disappointing, and it really hurt my heart that I could probably not play with Cole, in a Gamecock uniform ever again. So I was, that's why I tried to play that last game no matter how I was feeling. It didn't really matter. I was just trying to be out on the field with everybody because I wanted to lose with, the team that, Cole built. And, it was unfortunate it ended the way it did, but, hats off to JMU and what they did. And, that pitcher that threw against us, Burke, he did a great job, but you don't really reflect on anything on the season besides the last game. But I think we had a pretty outstanding season besides that. Made a really good run in the SEC tournament, had a couple really good big wins at home, had 37 wins, went 10-1 in midweek. So, things didn't go our way most of the time, but it's just, the way it is. That's baseball, and that's, we have a new year now.
Cole, thoughts on, just kind of reflecting on the season? I mean, do you take the same approach as Ethan where it's like, man, it's kind of hard to get past like how something ends, right? I mean, generally people are going to end, you're going to end the season, winning a title, or everybody else basically goes home, right? But I mean, do you kind of get past that and say, hey, you kind of take a big picture look at the season, or how do you approach it?
mean, there's a lot of different ways, like you said, but I mean, I agree with Ethan. Like, obviously, it was a disappointment. Don't want to lose that early in a regional, you know. But I think, like, when you look at the bigger picture, we were pretty bad. Some games we were really good, other games. So I think, and to make a regional with how bad sometimes we played or how good sometimes we played I think is a success. And, getting to see the joy on my teammates' faces, like throughout uh, I guess the selection show was, a success. Like some of those guys have never played in the playoffs before. And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we lost. Yeah, hurt in the moment. Yeah, I mean, it still hurts now, but I think in the bigger picture, the relationships we built this year and, the, I don't know, the different moments, the Blake Jackson walk-off or the Chris Veach outing in the SEC tournament. Like there's a lot more successes than just, making it to Omaha as the final goal. I mean, everyone wants to do it. It's however many teams in Division One baseball's in goal. So I think, there's a couple different ways, but I was really happy with some of the stuff that happened this year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, y'all make a great point. I mean, there was a lot of focus on, the end of the season and maybe some of those disappointments, but there were some, from my perspective, I think, and a lot of the fans' perspective, there are a lot of really cool and fun moments in there as well. And I know y'all definitely remember those too. So let's, I promise we'll move past that past now because I don't want to dredge all that up, but let's go to the future now. That's what we're going to spend our most time on. So, when y'all kind of just look at, we were talking earlier about how this team and this program is not far away from being where it wants to be, which is getting back to a super, having a chance to go to Omaha, making it to Omaha. It's been done here before, and I feel like there's a foundation there. So, what in y'all's minds needs to happen just to take that next step and get the Gamecocks back in Omaha for the first time in a little while?
Well, back to what we were talking about earlier, I was thinking that all that sadness that we felt, created is going to create something in a bond over the team we have right now. And I feel like, when Maneri works with this bond that we're going to have, we didn't know each other much last year. There was like over 25 guys that came in from the portal and stuff. So then we created that bond, being battle tested and, getting beaten up or having those successful moments like Cole said. And I feel like that's going to lead us and help us this year when we're all nice and close and we keep this roster together, or try to keep this roster together, because you never know what happens with other things and everything. But you keep this roster together and you end up, being a really close team, winning a lot of games and dominating a lot of games. So
yeah, Cole, I know that again, that this team had those great moments, had those maybe not so great moments, but again, really showed, I think, throughout the course of the year, proofs in the pudding. I mean, y'all beat a lot of really good teams. Y'all beat some teams that are literally in Omaha right now. But from your perspective, next steps for this program to kind of get over that hump. We know you got a decision to make, but just whether or not you're part of the team on the field next season, what do you see as that next step?
I don't think it's a, person or group of people coming in and changing it. I think it's like what Ethan said. It's, creating a tighter net. Looking back, I think we could have done some team building stuff earlier on with this year to make this team a little closer and not waited till halfway through the year to be, a close knit group. And so I think that'll be good from the get go. And I think, Ethan's 100% right. It's going to be a new guy coming in with new teams who are already a new team who's already close. And I think if anything, it'll, flourish and, bring the best out of each other with Maneri and the team. So
One thing that I've noticed, y'all, over the past, few days, since this hire the possibility of this hire started circulating and then it became official, is it seems like it's led to, the fan base being energized, former players, current players like y'all, some of the guys who are committed or signed to play at South Carolina. It seems like there's maybe the most excitement there's been in a while. Have y'all sensed that from the fan base, and are y'all just as excited to see what happens in the next, days and weeks?
Yeah, I feel that energy, just from a distance. And I'm all the way in Florida, and I feel like I just want to get back and start in August already. But I just feel like, I can reference some Star Wars right here now that, hope, it's the new hope. It's the start of Luke Skywalker, that saga. So I feel like it's great that we have everyone's getting hope now, and hope that we have a great season, and hope that we have a Omaha caliber season. So
Cole, what would it again, I keep just in case people are just tuning in, I have to always preface it by, you do have a decision that you got to make for next year, but regardless of whether or not you're actually on the field back there for the Gamecocks next year, what would it mean to you to either see the Gamecocks get back to Omaha next season, or to be able to actually participate in that while you're watching?
I mean, it would mean the world, because before I was a player, I was a fan. Yep. And, I've followed this program all my life, and, it's been fun to be a part of. And like you said, I have a decision to make, but either way, if they're in Omaha, I'll be really, really, really happy, because, I love the guys on the team, love the coaches, love the support staff still. Nothing. I mean, my actions and moods towards them aren't going to change regardless of if I'm here or not. I mean, I'm still going to be the same guy to those players, because, some guys reach out if I'm not here and, hey, what do you think on this? And I'll just be that kind of support they need from, a different person. And those guys know that. I told them that after the end of the year, if they ever need anything, they can call me. And they know that, and I'll have their back no matter what. So, I mean, it'll be to see, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. So we're coming up here last couple minutes, and I know there's a lot to be done. It's not like you guys are getting right back at it with the actual Gamecock baseball team. For you, Ethan, in the next couple days or something, you've got ball in the Cape. Cole, you've got the combine and a lot of other stuff going on. But just to kind of close it out here, the last couple minutes, y'all, just wanted to give you a chance. Any closing thoughts? Whether it's shout out to the fans, a message for the fans, or anything else that you wanted to say about Coach Mainieri and this new era in Gamecock baseball.
Yeah, I'm just really excited for the opportunity to play in a Gamecock uniform and play under probably one of the best head coaches of all time in college baseball history. So it's a dream to be a Gamecock, and I'm so excited to get started in August, and come February we're going to be locked and loaded.
I mean, if this is it, thank you guys for all the support. If not, it'll work.
That's right. All right, guys. Well,
I'm excited. We'll see.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Well, hey, best of luck to both y'all. Ethan, with you, getting that hand right. I know it's feeling a lot better, which is awesome. So good luck up in the Cape. You'll do well up there. Cole, for you, good luck with going to the combine and getting, poked and prodded, I guess, if it's anything like the NFL combine. 300 physicals and a bunch of Zoom calls and a bunch of talks. So yeah, it's going to be a lot, but I know that's going to be a in-depth process and a lengthy process, but also a cool one. So hope you enjoy that, man, as much as you can. And thanks a lot, y'all, for joining me tonight.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks.
You.
That's Ethan Petry and Cole Messina from Gamecock Baseball. You're listening to the Garnet Trust Hour, presented by Krantz Kooling and Heating on the Game.